The great chamber of the Galactic Council stretched wide enough to hold representatives from 300 worlds. Light filtered through the dome above, casting colors across the assembled delegates. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few existed as energy contained in special suits. They had gathered here for 2 centuries to maintain peace among the stars. Today, that peace was about to break. Commander Thraxul of the Zalkari Empire stood at the central platform. His forearms crossed over his armored chest. His red eyes scanned the chamber with contempt. The Zalkari were warriors bred for conquest. For 500 years they had expanded across the galaxy. Now they wanted more. The human sectors contained 12 resource-rich worlds, Thraxul announced. His voice echoed through the chamber. These worlds are underutilized. The humans waste them on parks and art colonies. We claim them by right of superior force. Murmurs spread through the council. The human delegation sat quietly. There were only 3 of them. A young diplomat named Sarah Chen sat in the center. She wore a simple blue suit. Her face showed no emotion. From the back of the chamber, an old voice called out, "I request permission to speak." All eyes turned. Ambassador Krelix moved slowly toward the platform. He was ancient even by his species' standards. His gray skin had faded to almost white. He had been young when humans first reached the stars. That was 200 years ago. Now he was the only one left who remembered. "Speak, old one," the council chairman said, "though I wonder what wisdom you offer that we have not heard." Krelix reached the platform. He looked at Thraxul, then at the human delegation. Sarah Chen met his eyes. She nodded slightly. "I was there," Krelix began. "I was there when we found Earth, when we made first contact with humanity. I must warn this council. I must warn the Zalkari Empire. Do not fight humanity." Thraxul laughed. It was a harsh sound. "The humans? They are weak. They spend their time painting pictures and writing poetry. They terraform worlds to make gardens. They have no warrior culture. Their military is small." "That is what you see," Krelix said. "I saw something else. I saw their history." The chamber grew quiet. Krelix continued. "Earth is a world of gardens now. Beautiful cities. Clean oceans. But it was not always so. I studied their past. I read their books. I watched their old recordings. Humans fought wars for 10,000 years. They fought with sticks and stones. Then with metal and fire. Then with weapons that could burn entire cities in seconds. Ancient history," Thraxul said. "They have grown soft." "No," Krelix said firmly. "They grew tired. There is a difference. Humans stopped fighting because they chose to stop, not because they forgot how." Krelix pulled up a hologram. Images appeared in the air. Scenes from human history, battles, wars, destruction. "Look at their planet," he said. "They nearly destroyed it. They created weapons that could kill everyone on their world. They actually used some of them. And then they stopped. They looked at what they had done and they stopped. They put their weapons away. They built gardens where battlefields had been." The council watched the images. Cities in ruins, mushroom clouds rising. Then the same places rebuilt. Parks and monuments, children playing. "When we met them," Krelix continued, "they greeted us with music and art. They shared their food. They asked us about our culture. They seemed innocent, harmless. But I spoke with their leaders. I asked them about their weapons. They told me something I will never forget." Krelix paused. The chamber was silent. They said, "We keep the weapons locked away. We hope we never need them again, but we remember how to use them. We will always remember." That was not a threat. It was a warning. "Warnings from gardeners," Thraxul said. "The Zalkari do not fear gardeners." Sarah Chen stood up. She walked to the platform. Her steps were quiet, but everyone watched her. "Ambassador Krelix speaks truth," she said. Her voice was calm. "We are gardeners now. We prefer to grow things rather than destroy them. But Commander Thraxul, if you invade our worlds, we will respond." "With what?" Thraxul demanded. "Your art ships? Your science vessels?" "With whatever is necessary," Sarah said. The chairman of the council spoke. "The Zalkari have legal claim to expand. The human sectors are lightly defended. I see no reason to deny their request." Krelix struck the platform with his walking staff. "You fools. You are sending them to their death." "The old one has grown confused," Thraxul said. "He fears shadows." Other council members agreed. The Zalkari Empire was strong. Humans were peaceful. The decision was obvious. The vote took only minutes. The Council granted the Zalkari permission to expand into human space. Sarah Chen bowed to the Council. Then we have nothing more to discuss here. I request 7 days to evacuate all human civilians from the contested zones. Granted, the chairman said. He seemed relieved. Perhaps this will resolve peacefully. Sarah looked at Thraxul. Commander, I hope you reconsider. There is no shame in peace. There is no glory in it either, Thraxul replied. The human delegation left the chamber. Krelix watched them go. He felt a deep sadness. That night, Krelix sat in his quarters. He opened old files, records from 200 years ago. He read his own notes from first contact with humanity. One entry stood out. He had written, "Today I met a human general. She showed me their military museum. Weapons from their wars, terrible weapons. I asked why they kept them. She said they were reminders. Reminders of what they could become if they forgot to be better." She cried as she spoke. I have never seen a warrior cry before. It disturbed me. Another entry. Humans are strange. They love their enemies after the fighting stops. They rebuild what they destroy. They hold their own people accountable for war crimes. What kind of species does this? And a final entry. I fear for any species that mistakes human kindness for weakness. The humans have made peace with themselves. That is the most dangerous opponent, the one who has nothing left to prove. Krelix closed the files. He sent a message to his home world, to his children and grandchildren. If war comes between humans and the Zalkari, stay far away. Do not take sides. Do not get involved. Remember what I taught you. The most dangerous creatures are the ones who have learned to be gentle. Across the galaxy, the evacuation began. Human transport ships arrived at the 12 contested worlds. Millions of civilians prepared to leave. They took their belongings. They said goodbye to their gardens and their homes. The Zalkari fleet gathered. Hundreds of warships, thousands of soldiers. They were confident. They were ready. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of a transport ship. She watched families board. Children carrying toys. Parents carrying photos. They were sad, but they did not complain. An older man approached her. He wore an old uniform. Military medals on his chest, Ambassador, he said. I served in the fleet 40 years ago, before I retired. If it comes to war, I will serve again. Sarah looked at him. I hope it does not come to that. But if it does? He asked. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, if it does, then we will do what humans have always done. We will protect our garden. No matter the cost, the old soldier nodded. He understood. In 7 days, the evacuation was complete. Not a single human civilian remained in the contested zones. The Zalkari took this as confirmation. The humans were running. They were afraid. Commander Thraxul sent a message to the human fleet. Surrender the 12 worlds. Accept Zalkari rule. There is no need for bloodshed. The response came quickly. It was simple. It was direct, no. The word hung in space like a promise. The Zalkari fleet entered the Epsilon system with all weapons active. 300 warships moved in formation. Their shields glowed with power. Their missiles armed and ready. Commander Thraxul stood on the bridge of his flagship. He expected victory within hours. Scan for human forces, he ordered. The sensor officer worked quickly. Then he looked up, confused. Commander, I detect only 20 human ships. They are old models. Decommissioned cargo vessels with weapons attached. No military-grade shields, Thraxul smiled. 20 ships against 300. The humans are more foolish than I thought. Open a channel. The screen activated. An old human woman appeared. Her hair was white. Her face was lined with wrinkles. She wore a worn flight suit with faded patches. I am Commander Thraxul of the Zalkari Empire. Surrender immediately and your deaths will be quick. The old woman laughed. It was not a scared laugh. It was the laugh of someone who had seen too much. I am Captain Maria Santos, she said. I flew cargo ships for 50 years. Been retired for 10. These folks with me, we all volunteered. We wanted to be here. You volunteered to die? Thraxul asked. We volunteered to send a message, Maria said. You had your warning. You didn't listen. So now you get lesson 1. The channel closed. The human ships moved forward. They did not retreat. They did not attempt to flee. They accelerated directly toward the Zalkari fleet. They are insane, the tactical officer said. Destroy them, Thraxul ordered. The Zalkari opened fire. Missiles streaked through space. Energy weapons lit up the darkness. The human ships took hit after hit. Their shields failed quickly. Hull breaches appeared. Fires burned in the void. But they kept coming. The first human ship reached a Zalkari destroyer. Instead of firing weapons, it rammed directly into the destroyer's bridge. Both ships exploded. Metal and flames scattered across space. What are they doing? The tactical officer shouted. 2 more human ships crashed into Zalkari vessels. They aimed for critical systems, engine rooms, weapons arrays. They traded their lives for maximum damage. The other human ships released swarms of small drones. Thousands of them. Each drone was a simple thing. An engine, a guidance system, and explosives. They moved too fast for the Zalkari point defense systems to track them all. The drones hit shields, weapons, sensors. They were not powerful enough to destroy the Zalkari ships. But they damaged them, blinded them, made them vulnerable. Reform the line, Thraxul ordered. Concentrate fire! The Zalkari fleet focused their weapons. One by one, the human ships died. They burned bright and then went dark. But even as they died, they kept fighting. Escape pods launched, but not away from the battle. The pods flew toward Zalkari ships and exploded on contact. The last human ship was Captain Maria's. Her vessel was bleeding air. Half her systems were dead. She aimed directly at Thraxul's flagship. All weapons, destroy that ship, Thraxul commanded. 100 cannons fired. Maria's ship came apart under the assault, but its momentum carried the wreckage forward. Debris struck the flagship's forward shields. The shields held, but barely. Then silence. All 20 human ships were destroyed. The Zalkari fleet remained, but 12 warships were gone. 20 more were damaged. Over 3,000 Zalkari soldiers were dead. The crew on the flagship looked shaken. They had won, but it did not feel like a victory. Commander, the communications officer said, we are receiving a transmission. It is on all frequencies. Repeating. Play it, Thraxul said. The screen showed a recording. Captain Maria Santos. She must have made it before the battle. She sat in her pilot chair. She looked directly at the camera. To whoever sees this, she said, my name is Maria Santos. I am 73 years old. I have 6 grandchildren. I should be home reading them stories. Instead, I am here. You want to know why? She leaned forward. Because someone has to show you what you are dealing with. We are not your enemy. We never wanted to be. But you came to our worlds. You threatened our gardens, our homes, our families. So we came here. 20 ships. All volunteers. All retired. All old. She smiled sadly. We are not soldiers anymore. We left that life behind decades ago. But we remember. We remember what we are capable of. And we wanted you to know, this is not the human military you just fought. This is your warning. This is us being nice. She reached for something off screen. A photo, she held it up. Children smiling at the camera. These are my grandchildren. They live on one of the worlds you want to take. I will do anything to protect them. We all will. Every human. We have 7 days to leave before you arrived. We used 6 of those days to evacuate civilians. We used the last day to gather volunteers. Her voice became harder. We came here in cargo ships and old transports. We attached whatever weapons we could find. We are not the fleet. We are not the military. We are just citizens. And look what we did to you. Now imagine what the actual military will do. She set the photo down. You have one chance. Turn around, go home. Tell your empire that humans are not worth fighting. Because if you continue, if you force this war, then you will learn why humanity spent 200 years trying to forget what we are good at. The recording ended. The bridge was silent. It is propaganda, Thraxul said. But his voice was not as confident. Delete it. Commander, the sensor officer said. We are receiving another transmission. This one is from Human Military Command. A new face appeared on the screen. A human man in a crisp uniform. His hair was gray. His eyes were cold. I am Admiral James Torres of the Human Defense Fleet. Commander Thraxul, you have engaged and destroyed civilian volunteers. 20 ships. 470 people. They were grandparents. Retired workers, teachers, they died to send you a message, the Admiral paused. I am now sending you a different message. You have 7 days. Withdraw from all contested systems. Return to your own space. Agree to peace negotiations. If you do this, we will forgive this incident. We will call it a misunderstanding. And if we do not? Thraxul asked. Admiral Torres's expression did not change. Then we will show you the difference between civilians and soldiers, between cargo ships and warships, between warning shots and full military engagement. You have 7 days. Choose wisely. The transmission ended. Thraxul stared at the empty screen. Around him his officers waited. Commander, his second-in-command said quietly, perhaps we should consider their offer. We lost 12 ships to 20 cargo vessels. If their military is stronger— Silence, Thraxul roared. The Zalkari do not retreat. We do not show weakness. He composed a message to the Zalkari High Command. He reported the battle. He requested reinforcements. He recommended caution. The response came within hours. The High Command was furious. Not at the humans. At Thraxul. You allowed civilians to damage our fleet. You make excuses. You show weakness. You are relieved of command. Commander Vektar will take your place. He will show these humans what war truly means. Thraxul was escorted from the bridge. His career was over. His honor was gone. He had tried to warn them. They did not listen. Commander Vektar arrived on the flagship 3 days later. He was younger, more aggressive. He looked at the battle reports and laughed. Thraxul was frightened by old people in cargo ships. How pathetic. We will crush the humans. We will take their worlds. And we will make them regret their defiance, he gave the orders. The Zalkari fleet would advance. They would not wait 7 days. They would strike now. They would strike hard. The fleet moved forward into human space. Sensors swept ahead. This time they were ready for tricks, ready for surprises. They found something else instead. Commander, the sensor officer said. His voice was shaking. You need to see this. The screen showed long-range scans. Hundreds of contacts. No, thousands. Human ships. Real warships. Military vessels. They were emerging from jump points all around the Zalkari fleet. How many? Vektar demanded. Still counting, Commander. At least 2,000 ships. More arriving every minute. Vektar stared at the screen. His confidence drained away. Get me Admiral Torres, he said. The human admiral appeared. He did not look angry. He looked tired. Commander Vektar, you did not wait the full 7 days. You chose aggression. So be it. Wait, Vektar said. We can negotiate. You had 7 days to negotiate, Torres said. Captain Santos and her volunteers bought you those 7 days with their lives. You wasted them. Now there is nothing left to discuss. The screen went dark. The human fleet began to move. The human fleet did not negotiate. They did not send warnings. They attacked. Commander Vektar watched in horror as his sensors filled with targets. The human ships moved with precision. They had trained for this, prepared for this. Every movement was calculated. Every shot was aimed with purpose. Return fire, Vektar ordered. All ships engage. The Zalkari fleet responded. Thousands of weapons fired. Space lit up with energy beams and missiles. But the human ships moved differently than expected. They split into small groups. Fast attack squadrons that darted between the larger Zalkari vessels. The first human weapons struck. They were not like anything the Zalkari had seen before. Missiles that released clouds of small objects. Those objects attached to Zalkari hulls. Then they began to eat through the metal. Nanomachines. They consumed the ships from the outside in. What is this? Vektar shouted. Our armor is dissolving. Seal all breaches, the engineering officer called. But the nanomachines spread too fast. They could not be stopped with conventional methods. Other human ships fired different weapons. Electromagnetic pulses that shut down entire systems. Gravity weapons that crushed ships from the inside. Particle beams that burned through shields like they were not there. The Zalkari fought back. They were skilled warriors. They had won 100 battles. But this was different. The humans fought with a cold efficiency. No wasted shots. No hesitation. They targeted specific ships. Disabled them. Moved to the next target. They are not trying to destroy us all, the tactical officer said. They are isolating our command ships. He was right. The human fleet focused on ships carrying senior officers. Flag vessels. Command cruisers. They cut off the Zalkari communications. Created chaos in the formation. Vektar's flagship shuddered as weapons fire hit the shields. The lights flickered. Jump to hyperspace, Vektar ordered. We must retreat. Jump drives are offline, the helmsman reported. They are jamming our systems. The humans had them trapped. The Zalkari fleet began to break apart. Some ships tried to flee. Human fighters pursued them. Small, fast craft that hunted the larger ships like predators. Admiral Torres appeared on every Zalkari screen. His voice was broadcast across all channels. This is your only warning. Power down your weapons. Surrender your ships. You will be treated according to galactic law. Refuse and we will destroy you. Some Zalkari ships powered down. Their captains chose survival. But others, proud warriors who could not accept defeat, continued fighting. The humans destroyed those ships without mercy. Quick, clean kills. No torture. No cruelty. Just efficient destruction. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, half the Zalkari invasion fleet was destroyed. The other half had surrendered. Commander Vector was captured. His flagship was boarded by human marines. They escorted him to a holding cell without a word. But the war was not over. The Zalkari Empire had more fleets. More ships. They gathered their forces for a counterattack. Across the galaxy, other species watched. News of the battle spread. Shock and confusion followed. The peaceful humans had revealed weapons no one knew they possessed. Questions arose. Where had these weapons come from? How long had humans been preparing? Ambassador Krellick spoke with Sarah Chen in a private channel. His voice was sad. I tried to warn them, he said. I know, Sarah replied. We tried too. They would not listen. What happens now? Sarah was quiet for a moment. Now we show them why we locked our weapons away. Why we tried so hard to be better? Because when we stop trying, when we embrace what we are capable of, we become something terrible. Can you stop? Krellick asked. Can you control your military? Yes, Sarah said. But we choose not to, not yet. The Zalkari started this war. We will finish it completely. The human fleet did not return home. They advanced. They moved into Zalkari space. Every contested world was retaken. Human soldiers landed on planets. They fought with tactics the galaxy had never seen. Drones controlled by advanced artificial intelligence. Small machines that could navigate any terrain. They scouted ahead. They identified targets. Human soldiers followed. They were equipped with armor that made them stronger, faster. Weapons that could take down armored vehicles. The Zalkari were skilled fighters. But humans had studied war for 10,000 years. Every battle in human history had taught them something. They used those lessons now. They attacked at night using thermal vision. They used psychological warfare, broadcasting messages that made Zalkari troops question their leaders. They cut supply lines. They turned the Zalkari's own tactics against them. General Marcus Chen commanded the ground forces. He was Sarah's brother. He had not wanted this war, but now that it had begun, he fought it with total commitment. We will give them every chance to surrender, he told his officers. But if they refuse, we will show no mercy. We will break their military so completely that they will never threaten anyone again. The Zalkari High Command tried to rally their forces. They called for total war. Every citizen was ordered to fight. They sent more fleets, more soldiers. The humans destroyed them all. Ships that had been mothballed for 200 years came out of storage. Weapons that had been locked away were activated. Factories that had made commercial goods switched to military production. The galaxy watched in horror. This was not the humanity they knew. This was something else, something ancient and terrible that had been sleeping. The Galactic Council held an emergency session. Representatives demanded that both sides stop fighting. Admiral Torres attended via hologram. He stood before the council. His uniform was crisp, but his face showed the strain of command. The Galactic Council gave the Zalkari permission to invade our space, he said. You told us to accept it. To be peaceful. We evacuated our civilians. We gave warnings. We offered negotiations. All of it was refused. Now you ask us to stop defending ourselves? The council chairman spoke. Admiral, your response has been disproportionate. You have destroyed more than half the Zalkari fleet. You have invaded their territory. This must end. It will end, Torres said, when the Zalkari are no longer a threat. When they surrender completely. When they agree to our terms. What terms? The chairman asked. Torres pulled up a document. The terms were harsh. Complete Zalkari disarmament. War crimes trials for those who ordered the invasion. Reparations for human losses. Monitoring of Zalkari military development for the next century. The council was silent. These were the terms of total victory. Unconditional surrender. This is too much, a delegate said. You will destroy their entire civilization. They will survive, Torres said. But they will learn. They will learn that starting wars has consequences. That ignoring warnings is foolish. That underestimating your opponent can be fatal. He looked directly at the chairman. For 200 years, humanity has been part of this council. We have followed your rules. We have kept the peace. We have helped other species. We have been good neighbors. And what did that get us? You gave permission for an empire to invade our worlds, to take our homes, to threaten our families. Torres's voice remained calm, but his words cut deep. We are teaching the Zalkari a lesson, but we are also teaching the rest of the galaxy. We are peaceful when allowed to be, but we are not weak. We are not helpless, and we will never, ever allow another species to threaten us without consequences. The hologram ended. The council sat in stunned silence. Ambassador Krellick spoke quietly. I told you. I warned you all. Humans are gardeners. They create beautiful things, but they protect those things with absolute conviction. You forced them to become warriors again. This is the result. The war continued for 3 more months. The Zalkari Empire fractured. Some colonies surrendered immediately. Others fought on. Human forces advanced steadily. They did not rush. They did not make mistakes. They broadcast messages to Zalkari civilians. We do not want to hurt you. We are fighting your military and your leadership. Surrender and you will be treated fairly. Continue fighting and we will do whatever is necessary. Slowly, the Zalkari resistance crumbled. Not because of fear alone, but because they realized the humans meant what they said. Civilians who surrendered were given food, medicine, shelter. Soldiers who laid down weapons were taken prisoner but treated according to law. But those who continued fighting faced the full force of human military power. Cities that housed military bases were blockaded. Supply lines were cut. The Zalkari military starved. General Chen stood on a captured Zalkari world. He looked at the city around him. Buildings damaged from fighting. Civilians watching from windows. Children crying. He hated this. All of it. He had not wanted war. None of the humans had. But it had come anyway. Sir, his aide said, Zalkari High Command is requesting a meeting. They want to discuss terms. Chen nodded slowly. Tell them we will meet. But the terms are non-negotiable. Complete surrender. Nothing less. The aide saluted and left. Chen looked up at the sky. Stars shone above, peaceful and distant. We just wanted to grow our gardens, he said quietly. Why did they make us do this? No one answered. The question hung in the air like smoke from a dying fire. The Zalkari homeworld of Zalkar Prime had never seen an enemy fleet in its skies. For 800 years it had been the center of an empire. Conquerors looked out from this world. Victims looked up at it with fear. Now human warships orbited above. Supreme Commander Thalric stood in the command center. He was old now. He had led the Zalkari military for 30 years. He had overseen 50 successful campaigns. But he had never seen defeat like this. The humans are requesting a meeting, his aide said. They want you to come to their flagship. I will not go to them, Thalric said. They will come here. We are still on our own world. We still have our dignity, the aide hesitated. Commander, they said if you refuse, they will come down and take you. They will broadcast it to the entire planet. They said you can walk to them with honor or be dragged. The choice is yours. Thalric closed his eyes. The empire was broken. The fleet was destroyed. 300 worlds had surrendered. Millions of soldiers were in human prison camps. He had no choice left. Tell them I will come. Hours later, Thalric stood in the hangar bay of the human flagship. Marines in powered armor lined the walls. They did not point weapons at him. They simply stood, silent, watching. Admiral Torres waited at the end of the hangar. Next to him stood General Chen and Ambassador Sarah Chen, the 3 humans who had conducted this war. Thalric walked forward. His forearms were empty. No weapons, no symbols of rank. He had left those behind. Supreme Commander Thalric, Torres said. Thank you for coming. I had no choice, Thalric replied. His voice was bitter. No, Torres agreed. You did not. Not anymore. But you did have a choice 4 months ago. You could have listened to Ambassador Chen. You could have listened to Ambassador Krellick. You chose war instead. We chose strength, Thalric said. You chose pride, Sarah Chen said. You thought we were weak. You thought you could take what you wanted. Now look at the cost. She pulled up a hologram. Images appeared in the air. Destroyed Zalkari ships. Ruined cities. soldiers in prisoner camps. The numbers scrolled past. 7 million Zalkari dead, 20 million wounded. The economy shattered, the military gone. This is what your pride cost your people, Sarah said. Thalrix looked at the images. Each one was a dagger to his heart. What do you want from me? Confession, apology? I am a soldier. I followed orders. Orders you helped create, General Chen said. He spoke for the first time. His voice was cold. You were not a low-ranking officer. You were Supreme Commander. You told the High Council that humans were weak, that we would not fight, that our worlds could be taken easily. Your advice started this war. I did not know, Thalrix said. You did not want to know, Chen replied. Ambassador Krellix gave you the data. He showed you human history. He warned you explicitly. You ignored it because it did not fit what you wanted to believe. The general stepped closer. Thalrix could see his eyes now. There was pain there. And anger. Not the hot anger of impulse. The cold anger of someone who has lost something precious. My daughter was visiting one of the contested worlds, Chen said. She was a teacher. She worked at a school for mixed species, teaching Zalkari children and human children together. She believed in peace. In understanding, he paused. His voice did not waver, but the pain was clear. When your fleet invaded, one of your ships fired on the evacuation transports. They were clearly marked. Clearly civilian. Your ship fired anyway. My daughter was on one of those transports. She was 26 years old. Thalrix felt something cold in his chest. I did not order that. I would never order strikes on evacuation ships. But it happened, Chen said. And you bear responsibility. You command the military. You set the culture. You created an environment where your officers thought it was acceptable to fire on civilians. I am sorry, Thalrix said. The words felt hollow. Your apology means nothing to my daughter, Chen replied. She is gone. You cannot bring her back. No one can. Admiral Torres spoke again. This is why we are here, Supreme Commander. This is why we will not simply accept your surrender and leave. We will make sure this never happens again. He pulled up a document. The terms of surrender. Thalrix read them. Each line was worse than the last. Complete disarmament of all Zalkari military forces. Dismantling of all warship construction facilities. Trials for war crimes. Reparations equal to 30% of Zalkari gross production for the next 50 years. Human observers on every Zalkari world. Restrictions on military research for 100 years. This will destroy us, Thalrix said. No, Torres replied. It will change you. There is a difference. Your people will survive. Your culture will survive. But your ability to threaten others will not. This is revenge, Thalrix said. This is justice, Sarah Chen said. And protection. You prove that you cannot be trusted with military power. So we will take it away. Not forever. But long enough for your culture to change. Long enough for a new generation to grow up without the glorification of conquest. Ambassador Krellix entered the hangar. He moved slowly. He looked even older than before. He approached Thalrix. Old friend, Krellix said. I tried to warn you. You did, Thalrix acknowledged. I did not listen. I thought you were being too cautious, too fearful. I was being realistic, Krellix said. I studied humans. I learned about them. You dismissed them without understanding them. That was your mistake. Thalrix looked at the humans. You are more dangerous than any species in the galaxy. You hide it behind art and gardens, but underneath you are predators. No, General Chen said. We are survivors. There is a difference. Predators hunt for pleasure. We fight only when forced, but when we fight to win. Completely, totally, because we have learned that half measures only prolong suffering. He gestured to the hologram showing the destruction. Do you think we enjoyed this? Do you think we wanted to destroy your fleet? To occupy your worlds? Every single death weighs on us. Every destroyed ship. Every ruined city. We carry that burden. But we carry it because you gave us no choice. Thalrix bowed his head. I will recommend that the High Council accept your terms. I have no authority to make the decision myself. You will do more than that, Torres said. You will stand trial. You will testify. You will tell your people the truth. That this war was unnecessary. That it was based on pride and miscalculation. That you bear responsibility. You want me to destroy what remains of my reputation, Thalrix said. We want you to speak truth, Sarah said. Your people need to understand what happened. Why it happened. If you hide the truth, If you allow myths to grow, then in 50 years or 100 years some other commander will make the same mistake. History will repeat. And if I refuse? Admiral Torres's expression did not change. Then we will present the evidence ourselves. Communications intercepts, battle recordings, testimony from captured officers. The truth will come out regardless. The only question is whether you help your people understand it, or whether you let them learn it from their conquerors. Thalaric stood silent for a long moment. His world was ending. His career was over. His legacy was destruction. But he could still choose how the story ended. I will testify, he said finally. I will tell them what happened. What I did wrong. What we all did wrong. That is all we ask, Torres said. The formal negotiations took 3 weeks. The Zalkari High Council tried to soften the terms. They argued. They pleaded. They threatened to continue fighting. The humans showed them more footage. Human ships positioned over every major Zalkari world. The implied threat was clear. Accept the terms or face total destruction. The High Council accepted. The signing ceremony was held on neutral ground. A space station run by the Galactic Council. Representatives from hundreds of species attended. They wanted to witness this moment. Thalaric sat at a table. Across from him sat Admiral Torres, General Chen, and Ambassador Sarah Chen. Between them lay the document. Pages and pages of terms, concessions, requirements, rules. Thalaric picked up the stylus. His hand hesitated over the document. If I sign this, my name will be cursed for generations, he said. Perhaps, Sarah said, or perhaps future generations will understand that you made the best choice available after making the worst mistake. You are ending the war. You are saving what remains of your people. There is honor in that, Thalaric signed. His signature was heavy. Final Admiral Torres signed for humanity. General Chen signed. Sarah Chen signed as witness. It was done. The war was over. The galaxy breathed a collective sigh of relief. But it was not a comfortable relief. They had seen something they could never unsee. Humanity's capacity for war, for destruction, for absolute victory. Ambassador Krelix watched the signing ceremony from the observation deck. He felt vindicated but not happy. He had been right. But being right had not prevented the war, had not saved the millions who died. A young diplomat approached him, one of his own species. Ambassador, the Council is preparing new first contact protocols. We want your input. How do we identify species that are dangerous? Species like humanity. Krelix turned to look at the young one. He sighed deeply. You missed the point, he said. Humanity is not dangerous because they are aggressive. They are dangerous because they tried so hard to be peaceful. They locked away their weapons. They chose to be gardeners. But when pushed, when threatened, they remembered what they were capable of. So how do we identify such species? Look for the ones who have overcome. 5 years had passed since the signing. The galaxy had changed. The Zalkari Empire no longer existed. In its place were the Zalkari territories, a collection of worlds that governed themselves under human oversight. No military beyond basic police forces, no weapons of war, no dreams of conquest. On the world of Zalkar Prime, General Marcus Chen walked through a marketplace. He wore civilian clothes now. No uniform, no rank insignia, just a simple jacket against the cold wind. The marketplace was busy. Zalkari citizens bought food, clothes, and tools. Children played between the stalls. Life had returned to normal, or as normal as it could be after total defeat. A Zalkari vendor waved to Chen. General Chen, please come try my fruit, fresh from the southern farms. Chen smiled and walked over. The vendor pressed a piece of fruit into his hand. It was sweet and tart at the same time. Excellent, Chen said. How is the farm doing? Very well, the vendor said. Thanks to the irrigation system your engineers built. We are growing 3 times what we did before the war. My family is prospering. I am glad, Chen said. He paid for several pieces of fruit and continued walking. 5 years ago, this vendor would have spat at him, would have cursed his name. Now they chatted like old friends. Time and effort had changed things. Chen reached the school at the edge of the market. It was newly built. Human and Zalkari engineers had worked together to design it. The architecture blended both styles. It was beautiful. Inside, he found what he was looking for, a classroom full of children, human children and Zalkari children sitting together, learning together. A young Zalkari teacher stood at the front explaining mathematics. Chen waited until the lesson ended. The children filed out, chattering in a mix of languages. The teacher saw him and waved. "General Chen, your timing is perfect. I wanted to ask about the science lab equipment you promised." "It arrived yesterday," Chen said. "My team will install it tomorrow. Your students will have everything they need." "Thank you," the teacher said. Her name was Silvara. She was young, barely 30. She had been a student herself when the war began. "You know, when I was young, I was taught that humans were weak, that they were inferior. I believed it. And now?" Chen asked. "Now I teach my students that strength comes in many forms," Silvara said. "That the ability to destroy is not the same as the right to destroy. The true strength is choosing peace even when you have the power for war." Chen nodded. "That is a good lesson." A small Zalkari child approached them. She was perhaps 7 years old. She looked up at Chen with curious eyes. "Excuse me," she said politely. "Teacher Silvara says you were a soldier, that you fought in the war." "I was," Chen confirmed. "I commanded human forces during the conflict. My grandfather says human soldiers were monsters, that they killed without mercy. But you seem nice." "I do not understand." Chen knelt down to be at her eye level. "What is your name?" "Kira," the child said. "Kira, that is a good question. Let me tell you something. During the war, I ordered attacks on Zalkari military targets. Ships were destroyed. Soldiers died. I made hard choices. Some people think that makes me a monster." The child listened carefully. "But I also made sure that civilians were protected, that prisoners were treated fairly, that hospitals and schools were never targeted. After the war ended, I helped rebuild what was destroyed. I am here now helping to build schools and farms." "So you are both things?" Kira asked. "In a way, yes," Chen said. "I am capable of fighting, of being hard when necessary, but I prefer to build, to create, to help. Most humans are like this. We can be both things. The question is which one we choose to be." Kira thought about this. "My teacher says choice is important." "Your teacher is very wise," Chen said. The child smiled and ran off to join her friends. Silvara watched her go. "That question," Silvara said. "How do you be both things? How do you fight without becoming cruel? How do you show mercy after violence?" "It is not easy," Chen admitted. "Every soldier I knew struggled with it. We saw terrible things. We did terrible things. Some of us carry guilt that will never go away." He looked out the window. Human soldiers were helping to construct a new building. They laughed with Zalkari workers, shared lunch, told jokes, but we remember why we fought. Chen continued. "Not for glory, not for conquest, but to protect what we love. That purpose keeps us grounded. It reminds us that violence is a tool, not an identity. When the fighting ends, we put the tool away." "I wish my people had understood that," Silvara said quietly. "They are learning now," Chen said. "It is a hard lesson, but you are teaching the next generation well. In 20 years, Kira and her classmates will lead the Zalkari territories. They will remember these lessons. They will choose differently than their grandparents did." Across the planet, similar scenes played out. Human aid workers built hospitals. Engineers repaired infrastructure. Teachers trained Zalkari educators. Farmers showed advanced agricultural techniques. It was not charity. It was part of the peace agreement. Humanity would help rebuild what the war had destroyed. In return, the Zalkari would accept human oversight and guidance. Some Zalkari resented this. They saw it as continued occupation, but most recognized it for what it was, a genuine attempt to help, to ensure lasting peace. Admiral Torres had retired after the war. He now served as the human ambassador to the Zalkari territories. He spent his days in meetings, negotiating trade agreements, settling disputes, building relationships. Today he met with the Zalkari Council of Governors. The council had replaced the old High Command. They were elected officials, not military commanders. Ambassador Torres, Governor Malketh said, "We wish to discuss the timeline for withdrawal of human oversight. It has been 5 years. Our people grow restless." Torres nodded. "I understand. The original agreement specified a review after 5 years. We have conducted that review." He pulled up a document. "Your economy has stabilized. Your infrastructure is rebuilt. Your government is functioning. Crime rates are low. You have complied with all disarmament requirements. The review is positive." "So you will leave?" Malketh asked hopefully. "Not entirely," Torres said. but we will reduce our presence significantly. Military observers will withdraw from most worlds. Aid programs will transition to partnership programs. Instead of us teaching you, we will work together as equals. When will this happen? Beginning next month, Torres said. Full transition will take 2 years. By then, the only humans remaining will be embassy staff and volunteers who choose to stay. The council members looked relieved, but also uncertain. Ambassador, another governor said, what if someone threatens us? We have no military, no defense fleet. How will we protect ourselves? Torres smiled slightly. The same way you have been protected for the last 5 years. The Galactic Council has guaranteed the security of the Zalkari territories. Any attack on your worlds would be treated as an attack on humanity. You would defend us? After everything? Yes, Torres said simply. The war is over. You are no longer our enemies. We would prefer you become our friends, but regardless, we will not allow you to be conquered or destroyed. That is our commitment. The meeting ended on a hopeful note. Torres returned to his quarters. He looked at photos on his desk. His family. His grandchildren. He had missed 5 years of their lives serving here. But it had been necessary. Ambassador Sarah Chen visited him that evening. Brother and sister sat on his balcony, watching the sunset over the Zalkari capital. Do you think it worked? Sarah asked. All of this. The rebuilding, the teaching, the oversight. I think we gave them a chance, Marcus replied. What they do with it is up to them. But yes, I think it worked. I see the changes. I see the children learning different values. I see the adults questioning their old beliefs. Some will always hate us, Sarah said. Some will, Marcus agreed. We killed millions of their people, destroyed their empire, humiliated them. That does not disappear just because we build schools afterward. But hate fades, especially when the people who remember the war start to die. The next generation will not carry that same rage. I hope you are right. They sat in silence for a while. The sun touched the horizon. The sky turned purple and orange. Do you regret it? Sarah asked. The way we fought. The terms we imposed. All of it, Marcus thought carefully. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that my daughter died. I regret every life lost on both sides. But do I regret our actions? No, we defended ourselves. We ended a threat. And we tried to build something better from the ashes. That is all we could do. Far across the galaxy on Earth, Ambassador Krellix gave a lecture. He was ancient now. His body was failing, but his mind remained sharp. He stood before a class of young diplomats from a dozen species. You are the future of galactic relations, he told them. You will make first contact with new species. You will negotiate treaties. You will prevent wars or fail to prevent them. So I leave you with one lesson. One warning. The students leaned forward. Never underestimate a species based on what they appear to be, Krellix said. Look deeper. Study their history. Understand their capacity. Humans appeared peaceful. They were peaceful. But they were capable of extraordinary violence when threatened. That combination made them more dangerous than any purely aggressive species. Why?